Welcome back, everybody. Ooh, sorry. God damn it, we had a remake. Sorry, 1 second. Welcome back, everybody, to the Netolic Raid Call Pro League Winners Bracket East Division VG versus AFD game number 2. VG taking out the first game against AFD. AFD attempted the Western pedigreed strategy of the CKIO, and it fell upon deaf ears as VG immediately responded with a 3v3 lane, followed by an inexorable push, and AFD just could not find the right response to that, unfortunately. And so, in the first game, we do see VG taking it out, but will AFD be able to come back? We do see them securing that Queen of Pain once again for ChibiX, and the Lone Druid actually on their side this time, while VG secure for themselves a Shadow Demon Magnus combination. I am Vikrmond, your official English caster for this event. I'm joined by El Presidente. How you doing, man? And what do you have to say about this anti-mage we just saw hit the field?
Oh, it's hard carry anti-mage time, and this is like a throwback to TI2. No. Also like a throwback to when ZSMJ was playing Dota 1. Like, these are all heroes that were popular way back when. Well, not Magnus. Magnus has really only been popular in Dota 2.
Yeah. Got some buffs.
And then some nerfs.
And then
still popular.
Yeah.
I don't know why he wasn't popular in Dota 1. That's really my question.
I don't know. Anyway, so who do you favor so far from the first phase, and why?
VG Gaming, because 5 a.m.
But what if they never make it? I mean, Lone Druid is on the other foot this time, and Lone Druid, depending on how he pushes, can really sort of present a time limit to you, I feel.
When anti-mage is considered, he's considered a hard carry. I find issues with the term being applied to anti-mage because his scaling is awful. He's not a hard carry, he's a mid-game carry. And the reason why he's a mid-game carry is not because he does a lot of damage late game. He does, but he gets to the late game because he farms items faster than everyone else besides Alchemist and Doombringer. It's because he can blink, farm jungle, farm 2 lanes all at the same time with just illusions in himself.
Yeah,
and just with a battle fury.
I mean, maybe the problem lies with the definitions of mid, late, early, because it's 3 buckets for what really can happen at any minute. I guess my point is just Lone Druid is generally starting to be a big pushing force prior to anti-mage getting his farm.
The only
so even if it's not hyper late game, I mean, we're not talking about Medusa here, AM will hit that point later than Lone Druid will.
This is all true. The only problem is if we look at AFD's lineup, it's not really suited to massive early game pushing so far. Rubik can sort of help with Fade Bolt, Queen of Pain can sort of help with Scream of Pain, but most of the tower raising damage is coming exclusively from the Lone Druid.
Sure.
Lone Druid doesn't have a lot of range either. He's going to get caught out by a Magnus and find himself very dead.
Sure. And you can see that VG are responding to that. They're taking out heroes specifically to attempt to stymie a push composition coming from AFD in the second game. So you see the Juggernaut banned out. You see the Dragon Knight banned out. Juggernaut, of course, a hero that's become more and more popular in the Asian and Southeast Asian meta as a pushing partner with Lone Druid, just because that healing ward is so effective on that bear. And Dragon Knight, I mean, we saw VG use him as the core of a pushing composition as well. I think this hero's popularity is waxing as well.
Interestingly, VG Gaming chose to ban the Brew instead of pick it up themselves. Now, Brew is a very popular Chinese hero, more popular in China than anyone else, and I'm sure it has nothing to do with the fact that he used to be a panda. I say used to because that is not a panda.
It's not intended to be a panda.
No, it's not even. I don't know if it's allowed to be a panda because Blizzard will sue them, but sue Valve, that is. But that said, the reason why I'm surprised by VG Gaming's ban is that they could very easily fit Brew into their lineup as a solo mid, and then they can follow it up with the fact that Brew absolutely shuts down a Lone Druid push. He pops ulti, he tornadoes the bear, he stuns the Druid, and kills it.
Right.
And what do you do against that? You kind of die against that. There's not really much you can do against that because you can't prevent the tornado.
I think, but the thing is, VG is picking second here. I think this correct strategic move is actually to ban the Brewmaster because AFD could secure that for themselves. And Brew isn't bad against anti-mage by any stretch of the imagination either. So they could have tried to pick that up for themselves and then made a lineup around that. But they do choose the Lina over the Leshrac, and VG immediately securing for the Leshrac for themselves. What do you think about these choices? I wonder if maybe Leshrac would have paired with Lone Druid a bit better, but maybe I'm wrong.
I think the problem is if AFD want to go for an early push, they should have picked up the Leshrac, and they didn't. Lina's a stronger ganker than a pusher. That said, we now see the lane lineup, and it's going to be a farming winner.
Yeah. That's what we're going to see. And we've seen this a little bit more recently. In fact, at this point, I wonder if we've seen farming Windrunner in the last month more than we've seen the sort of classic offlane Windrunner. We've also seen support Windrunner sometimes. But yeah, do you see this as a try versus try approach, or do you see it as a lone druid on the offlane approach?
It's hard to say because AFD does not have a lot of damage in this tri lane. They really don't. Power Shot takes too long to really get rolling, and even if they do early on, it doesn't hit that hard. The other problem is that you're dealing with an anti-mage who's going to pick up a spell shield. All of the damage coming out from this tri lane is going to be magical in nature.
True.
So it's going to be difficult for AFD to get early kills on an anti-mage like that. That said, and there goes KS. But that said, it becomes really difficult for them to get kills in a try versus try. So they're probably going to run a defensive tri lane. That's going to put poor lone druid in a very bad position, though.
Yeah, it's not going to be an easy lane by any means for Wraith Plu on the lone druid. And furthermore, if they don't find the early kills, and you're right, due to the spell shield, it may be difficult because so much of their early damage is going to be in the form of those spells. If they can't find the timing, which now that they really don't have a push composition, I don't think we really have that much to fear from the lone druid high grounding. If Wraith Plu has an okay early game, we're going to see him do some effective counter pushing in the mid game. But as we get up into that later mid game stage, I wonder if ZSMJ won't just be able to push even more. I mean, Anti-Mage, once he has Manta Style, is an absolutely excellent split pusher. The only reason people don't talk about it more is just because now there's Phantom Lancer is now an even more popular split pusher. But VG will eventually have just as much pushing power, if not more, than what AFD are packing. And so the question becomes really, what is AFD's plan to sort of take out this game? So why don't you actually, let's introduce the teams, and then you can walk me through what the strategic goals of AFD should be here. So, I'll introduce AFD. We do have ChibiX33. He had the best game of any player on AFD in the first game, and in fact, AFD have been relying on him to generate plays from the mid in each of their wins of the group stage of this tournament. He will be taking up the Queen of Pain. It does, after all, look like they will be running that aggressive tri-lane, so that's going to be composed of Chaos on the Rubik, Shaolin on the Lina, and Ken going up on this farming carry style Windrunner. Finally, the solo safe lane will be taken up by Wraith Plu on the Lone Druid.
For VG, we're seeing XCT taking the offlane with this Darkseer on the solo long lane. I always get confused using those kind of terminology. I know, it's awful. The offlane, the hard lane, the suicide lane, the one where you send that solo guy to. Whoever that guy is. CTY will be soloing in mid. That's the other problem. The one where you send that solo guy to applies to 2, maybe 3 lanes, depending on how you're playing it. And ZSMJ on the Anti-Mage, Fender on the Leshrac, and we're seeing FY on the Shadow Demon. Honestly, I really would have loved to see the Phantom Lancer pick so ZSMJ could reprise his world-famous 6-minute relic.
I don't know. I actually like Anti-Mage more here.
I agree. I agree that Anti-Mage is going to be better, especially against, Queen of Pain.
Yeah. I mean, he gets the magic resist so much earlier and in such greater quantity.
But I still think it would have been really funny, because I typed into our Twitch chat, this is Revenge of ZSMJ 4, a new Sacred Relic. I don't know how much longer I can keep up Star Wars jokes with ZSMJ, though.
We almost saw XTT pick up a Sacred Relic that last game. Unfortunately, it ended just a bit too early, but I actually thought that his Weaver was fishing for that relic. He ended up with 4.2k gold at the end. I don't think he bought it before the game ended, unfortunately. Sorry, yeah. Did you introduce Fi and Fenrir as well?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Yeah. Fi has just quietly been an anchor for VG in these last games. I mean, his Lina. In that VG TNC game, the third game of the group stage, which you guys should absolutely check out the VOD of on our Twitch channel as well as YouTube, VG played the most excellent hard support Lina. I mean, he never died. He ended up getting Blink Dagger, Aghanim Scepter, Scythe of Vice. It's a lot of items for a player who is, I think, number 5 or number 4 as usual in that game. He just is able to not die and always generate those opportunities very, very well. He's one to watch in this game. Anyway, I wanted to turn it over to you, Elprez, to talk about, strategically speaking, what are AFD's goals in the early to mid game here to actually be able to take this over VG?
If we look at what their lineup kind of says is that they're looking to get a lot of early game kills. The only problem I see with that is that Lina is primarily magic, and they will not be able to shut down CSMJ because of that. They will be instead looking for kills on the Magnus, on Fenrir, on Fi, and on XATT. But if we look at VG's lineup, this is a solo core system. They are focusing heavily on the anti-mage, with Magnus really being the second largest farmer, and even then, he's not going to get as much farm. They're not going to give it to him. So that's going to be the big goal, to really get as many kills on the Windrunner and the Lone Druid as possible, or get as many tower kills as early as possible.
Right.
The only problem is if we look at their lineup, they're not really perfectly suited to doing either perfectly. Like, they're okay at tower pushing with Lone Druid and, I guess to an extent, Lina and Windrunner, but they're also only okay at tower pushing.
Oh,
they're also
man.
Rave Blue.
Rave Blue copping a ton of damage from XTT just to start out with. He will heal this all up, but it's not a fantastic way to get started. The rune wasn't there as well. It did spawn top. What rune actually was it? Invisibility.
It was on bottom.
Oh, no, it was on bottom, but sorry, my bad. But XTT did manage to pick it up. And he's just going to creep cut. So already a lane that's not going to be the easiest in the world for Rave Blue to manage. Once Lone Druid becomes level 5, this becomes a little more tractable. I feel like every time I talk about a Lone Druid lane matchup, I have to mention the fact that level 5 changes a lot of stuff. Wow, actually, big thanks from VG onto Chibi here. They correctly identified that he was the danger, and Magnus, Shadow Demon, Leshrac, Fenrir and Fi rotating over, getting that early kill, and they know exactly what their mission is here. They saw that what actually kept them from being able to win quite as easily as they could have was the Queen of Pain, and they bring that ganking squad over.
Honestly, they could go right back and do it all over again, because Queen of Pain does not have her level 2. Queen of Pain does not even have Blink. They do know that it's a level 1 Blink, not Blink, Dagger.
Yep.
Level 1 Shadow Strike. So they can honestly go back and get another kill, but now it's a little bit too late.
Right. Well, they'll rotate over eventually, possibly, if they... But for VG to put the first kill on the board when AFD are looking to get her kills is very substantial. Good warding here, actually, coming out from AFD in this jungle. They have a pretty good idea of what's going on. They're attempting to block the camps out, but VG just managing the lane nonetheless a little bit better than I think AFD were managing the lane in the first game.
Oh, Fi.
What about... Ooh, actually, he gets caught out. They get the kill. My god, sorry. I don't know what's wrong with me here. I went for Fenrir when it was Fi. So, AFD, they put one on the board. Fi getting a little bit caught out. I was just talking about the wards. The vision really helping them there. But for now, pretty much even in the mid, other than, of course, that death on Chibi. He is level 3, whereas CTY is almost all the way through level 3. And in the bottom, more or less even here as well. Lone Druid with just a smidge ahead. But decent pressure coming out on ZSMJ from AFD. So that kill on Fi, you do see the supports of VG peeling back to sort of these easy camps for a bit. And this means that the lane will come towards AFD up here.
Poor Magnus, he actually did not get the regen rune. When he skewered, he grabbed the poor panda, and the panda clicked on the rune and stole it from him.
Ouch. Good panda micro, though, for sure.
Yeah, so that definitely not going to be in favor of CTY in this mid lane. Right. And because of that, he spent a lot of time out of lane, so he's actually falling behind Chibi in mid as a result.
He's still okay, just because he had that kill, so he was ahead a little bit at the beginning.
Yeah, the only problem is now that actually in terms of XP, Chibi is ahead again.
Right. Slightly, but still.
Slightly. It's still, in the mid lane, every little bit of XP counts.
Sure. But again, as Magnus, you don't aim to dominate that middle lane. You really aim to more or less not lose and grind your way out to a decent position. And so far, I think CTY doing a decent job of that, in addition to the fact that they did score the first blood on him. Here we go, VG finally managing to find the counter ward here, killing off that ward that was blocking their progress. And that'll be very useful for them. If they could also find this Observer, that would be another story, but I think it's just out of sentry range. Actually, I think sentry range is more like this. Here we go. AFD trying to disrupt this lane pull, trying to maybe find the kills. Disruption gets thrown out, actually. ZSMJ stunned. The Shackle does not latch. In trouble for Shaolin Kid here. Good Light Strike Ray. Fi actually getting taken down pretty quickly. And ZSMJ attempting to trade off, doing a lot of damage onto Ken. Ken, I don't think he can actually stay here. He's taking too much damage. He might not be able to make it out of this. He pops Healing Salve, but ZSMJ, it looks like we'll get the last hit. Yes, the lift up from KS. They're going to try to kill ZSMJ. No! A triple kill for Anti-Mage, and this is going horribly.
You know, like, there are worst case situations. Feeding ZSMJ is probably on the top 10 list for worst case situations in a Chinese Dota match. That was phenomenal play, though, and honestly, that was in large part because of the telekinesis. The telekinesis put him in a really awkward position for KS, and KS just ended up getting caught out trying to micro it.
XTT in the bottom, so he is taking a lot of damage. It looks like they may find the pickoff. Yes, ChibiX just cleverly walking out before he manages to die to tower damage and getting the pickoff with the Scream of Pain there. So even with that early death, he's still managing to put out pressure on the map. Sorry, can you resume what you were saying?
One, that puts him ahead of Magnus by quite a margin now. He's level 6 before Chibi is ahead of CTY. 2, just phenomenal play coming out of VG Gaming supports in particular. Fenrir was on his game on that split earth. The only reason why he was able to make that that third kill happen on KS was because when KS was too busy fumbling around with telekinesis, which is a very hard ability to use appropriately, he ended up standing still for just long enough for the split earth to land.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think he was... I wouldn't characterize it as fumbling around. KS has actually had pretty effective telekinesis. He started that fight by telekinesising Phi onto ZSMJ, stunning ZSMJ, and putting Phi in the line of fire. So, like, I don't know. I think you're being a little harsh.
I say fumbling, but that's just because that's the best word that can come to my mind.
Alright, fair enough.
It might not be the most appropriate, but it sounds the best. But
right.
You know, again, that said, it is not the best, easiest ability to use, and it does take a little bit of APM, as Select would put it, to use appropriately. And when used appropriately, it's a phenomenal ability. When used sometimes in the heat of a battle, sometimes you get caught out because you're a little bit not moving, and then Split Earth lands on you and you die.
Yeah. Some good news for AFD is that they are finding good amounts of farm on each of their heroes. So, Chibi, in addition to having that kill recently, is up to about 29 last hits and 13 denies, so he's doing quite well. Ken has found 30 last hits in this lane, actually substantially more than ZSMJ has managed to earn on this anti-mage. And finally, Lone Druid farming pretty well at the bottom as well. So we do see Raveplu exceeding XTT's farm by just a tiny little smidge. But still, 3 heroes, 3 core heroes, and they're all getting farm. And this has to be good news for FD, I feel. Uh-oh. But here we go, another gank onto Chibi. He will not be able to blink out of this, I don't think. They're going to actually no mana for RP, and it doesn't matter. Too much damage. Split Earth comes through, Shockwave comes through, and Chibi on the ground again. VG putting pressure on that one incredibly important hero, really the lodestone of what AFD try to get done.
Yeah, one of the big problems, though, is that ZSMJ is getting left alone a huge amount, and as a result, his farm isn't really that phenomenal. Mm-hmm. He does have those 3 kills, so he is actually still, I think that, yeah, he's still the second highest or highest net worth in the game at a point where net worth isn't the biggest deal. But it still means that even though he is getting outlast hit by... Oh,
Disruption
we're seeing play.
Now. We might see an engagement here. XTT is coming in. Good wind run and coming out of there. Good shackle, actually. Latches ZSMJ, and they're going to have to retreat from this, I think. Fenrir fakes out the Diabolic Edict. He's not going to pop it, just going to wait, hold that mana. He only has mana enough for 1 Split Earth and 1 Edict, so he doesn't want to waste it for no reason. And a little bit of a abortive fight there. We don't actually get any kills or anything, but VG once again warded off from trying to make the most of their rotation of XTT.
Yeah, it's actually starting to get really difficult for...
I mean, you have the solo laner leaving, and Lone Druid gets a tower.
Yeah, it's actually really difficult for VG to get these kills because ultimately they can just lift someone up or they can try to land at Light Strike Ray, and all of that will ruin a gank attempt. Mm-hmm. Also, Anti-Mage trying to kill Windrunner is a little bit difficult as well because Windrun makes your life very difficult.
Yeah, I mean,
that's
being able to perfectly dodge everything but mana void.
That said, there is an early Ring of Regen picked up on Ken, and I believe this is going to be turned to a 4-staff, but I could be completely wrong and it's going to turn to, like, I don't know.
It's definitely it could be Mechanism.
Yeah.
Possibility. I would suspect he'll actually make the Force first and then the Mech, but early Mech would be good for them too, frankly. They need a little bit of muscle to punch through these fights.
He picks up the early headdress, so...
Yeah, okay. So yeah, it is a Mechanism. I like this a lot, honestly. I feel like that's they're just lacking a little bit, and I feel like the Mechanism can give them that little bit, because it definitely... Will it actually hit earlier than XTT's? Probably not, but then they need it at least for parity.
Actually, I believe they're a little bit ahead. Ken's a little bit ahead on the mech than XCT is. The problem is when you're playing a 1-roll Windrunner, or a 2-roll Windrunner in this case, because the 1 roll is filled up by the Lone Druid, rushing an early mech doesn't give you that much.
C2, Chibi X, he's going to get cut out. There's the disruption. Oh no, Split Earth alone. Wow. With that Soul Catcher, I mean, that rank 2 Soul Catcher, 30% extra damage. Chibi X gets caught out again. And this is what's really lacking for AFD, I feel, is that their vision has been quite poor since the beginning of the game. They really only know what's happening in this jungle at the best of times, and now also here, and VG just skirt around this area to generate this kill by Fi and Fenrir. Very good support play from these guys.
This is really weird. There's a skill point unaccounted for on Fi.
6... No, there's not.
1, 2, 3, 4. No, I just can't count. That's what it is.
Don't worry about it, buddy. I can't count either, especially this early in the morning.
Sometimes I think there's one more or one less than there actually is. That said, I really do like Soul Catcher. I think that's probably one of the best abilities in the game. There was a really funny thing that you can do with Huskar that involves one-shotting people.
Sure.
And Shadow Demon is integral.
Oh no, Chibi X getting caught out yet again. 4 players this time from VG. And actually, this Queen of Pain, I think we can officially say it, he's getting shut down this game. 1 in 4 for Chibi. VG really using their superior map control, which is really just a product of roaming supports and vision. That's all it's been so far. And they're relying on the fact that AFD are loath to actually pull their supports away from this top lane. Because they're like, well, if we pull our supports away, we're just going to get rolled by ZSMJ. But if they don't pull their supports away, then Fi and Fenrir can get so much done as these roaming gankers, really just completely neutering the progress of that Queen of Pain. You do see Chibi now falling a level behind CTY, that hard-earned victory in the mid, just getting frittered away. And here we go, Chaos. He will lift XTT up. There's going to be a Light Strike array. Good coordination of these two abilities. XTT actually, defensive disruption. He might make it out of this. He does pop Vacuum. He's going back in. No, he does cop a fall. I think that was a little overly exuberant there. Ooh. And we do actually see an Entangle, and there's no tower here, so this is probably a drop for Fi as well. Oh, these are important kills for AFD. They lift up on Fenrir. Will they get another Entangle? This bear does have phase boots. They need another hit, maybe. We do see something coming in. CTY is jumping in. He wants this RP. Just on 1, he gets the Shockwave. It'll hit 2. Fade Bolt getting thrown out by KS. He's got Telekinesis in 2 seconds. He needs to lift up CTY. Will he actually make it out of this alive? No, Shockwave comes out again. Brave Blue, meanwhile, just seeking to pick off that Leshrac. He gets it, but both of his supports died in that time. I wonder if it wouldn't have been better to redirect himself onto CTY.
It's hard to say. But on the plus note for AFD, Brave Blue was able to get the kills on almost all of the supports that set, so he was able to pick off Fenrir in the back. So that's always good news, because he is the top farmer right now, Brave Blue. What's his bear at? Almost Armlet, actually. He's leaving it in the fountain so you can get the Armlet on it. Oh, nope. Never mind. Oh, no. Nope. I have no idea what's going on anymore.
Alright, let me talk about other stuff. So, we do see CTY picking up that Blink on Magnus. This is quite a good Blink timing. 12 minutes for the Arcane Boots and the Blink. He'll be able to sort of counter pressure. No RP 60 seconds to actually take advantage of that Blink, but there's a lot he can do with it even without that. A good skewer on this push attempt would be a big deal. He just comes in, he's going to defend a little bit. Bear's still bashing on this. KS, he does have that stolen anti-mage Blink. CTY ends up just skewering the Bear. Here comes XTT, and actually XTT and Fi want to make a part of this. There goes the disruption. KS, he blinks out of it. That anti-mage Blink, so useful. Light Strike Array, excellent Sonic Wave from Chibi. Even shut down, he can generate a lot of attempts. He gets a double kill. Oh my god, excellent play from AFD here. 3 kills for nothing. And there they go, the tower as well. ZSMJ finds some safe time, but his team, meanwhile, is now struggling to actually do anything against these 4 players.
I swear to god, it's this panda skin.
It must be the panda skin.
It's always the panda skin. ZSMJ had it last time, that's why they won.
Could be. K for Power Ice Frog, please. Armlet will almost be done on that bear. They do peel off. I don't think they can get this tier 2 tower. But AFD, they're starting to claw themselves back into the game. And Chibi, what an excellent player. When you're way behind and you can still always pop off your useful abilities in the most useful context. I feel that that's just really the mark of excellent play. And he's done quite well for himself, while ZSMJ actually kind of languishes. He's still pretty far away from the Battle Fury at 14 minutes.
Yeah, he is not farming that well, and the problem is he was getting kind of bullied out of lane by the Windrunner, and it's tough as an anti-mage to lane against Windrunner just by virtue of Winner having that phenomenal range. I think it's 625 for her. No, it's just 600, but that's still phenomenal range. And frankly, who was also copping a lot of power shot hits. And every time you get shackled as well, that's a lot of last hits you just cannot get. So honestly, ZSMJ not farming as well as he really needs to make this game work out for him.
He's farming, I would say, okay, but it's just that. It's just okay. And here we go, AFD seeking to establish some map control, taking out that top tower. The trade-off will come at bottom, so VG, of course, no slouches in pushing themselves, especially considering Fenrir has gotten this QW, he's got the Edict, he's got the Split Earth. Doing pretty well here. And so, ZSMJ now finding some farm in the middle, but all the Tier 1 towers down for VG. It's going to be harder and harder to exert any sort of cohesive map control here. And it looks like AFD pushing through to the Tier 2. Do you think VG can even defend this, or should they just let it go? Oh god.
They should just let it go. They don't have time.
It's already gone. They didn't have to let anything happen. VG, they're going to try to find another trade. AFD do have the Fortify here. It looks like they'll use it. This is interesting. Just to waste VG's time. Well, actually, we do see the first high ground breach at 15 minutes. VG don't have a Fortify. This is actually dealing some pretty great damage to this tower. Will VG rotate? They've rotated 4 so far. Actually, it looks like AFD just peeling off here, but after dealing 50% damage to this tower.
With those last couple of tower kills, that actually puts ZSMJ very, very close to his Battle Fury, though. So
that's definitely going to accelerate it substantially. About 2 minutes faster than he would have gotten it without those towers. It's pretty
sadly, I feel like VG have not been taking advantage of this ancient camp. They should have been stacking it for ZSMJ, knowing that his farm was behind.
Right. Well, Fi and Fenrir were doing a lot of roaming and generating gank opportunities and such.
Yeah. But ultimately, if they do manage to get the Battle Fury up on him, and it's looking very close on ZSMJ, that could let him keep up with Rave Plu's farm, which is mostly coming from the fact that he has a lot of tower kills.
C2I missing the skewer fishing there. He tried his best. It does look like he's making BKB, so just a little bit of protection against this high magic damage from DM2. From AFD. VG sort of realizing, again, a lot of the danger, even though we spent so many resources shutting down that Queen of Pain early, Chibi is still dangerous, and the rest of this team deals a lot of magic damage as well. BKBs are going to be useful, and so that's why you see CTY going for that BKB straight after his play.
Anyways, that is the Battle Fury finished up on ZSMJ. Next up, he should be looking at picking up that Yasha into a Manta style, and after the Manta style, it really comes down to what does he need next, and that's another tower down. That's another tier 2 down for VG, and they cannot afford to be letting all of these towers go down without a fight.
They're just trying to trade. They realize that they need more farm on CSMJ, and a great way to get more GPM is to get those tower kills. So they're making the tower treads fully cognizant. Actually, Bear taking a lot, the entirety of the Edict duration. Will it actually drop? It might with the Shockwave. No, the Bear lives. Ooh, close though. Really close.
It's all that built-in magic resist that he gets from the Demolish ability.
Sure.
But,
I mean, they've gotten the Battle Fury. They accelerated it substantially. They had to trade some towers to do it. They had to sort of, with sort of clear eyes, realize that it would advance AFD's plan, but to advance their own, they had to sort of let it happen. And I think it's actually fairly intelligent. We do see Mithril Hammer, so Rave Blue building towards that Mjolnir, or at least the Maelstrom for the Lone Druid Bear. And he's going to get that pretty quickly, I feel.
Yeah, absolutely. And once he gets the Maelstrom, that's honestly, attack speed is probably your best bet for raising towers and improving his tower hero killing efficiency. As Lone Druid, it's a little bit of both. Not as good at tower pushing as just straight damage on the bear is.
C2I fishing again. Still doesn't manage to get it, unfortunately.
That said, that's a huge cleave that ZSMJ is going to be doing, and I believe mana break damage can be. It does get cleaved.
Caught out here. They lift him up with Chaos. There's the Light Strike array. Ooh, nice defensive disruption. Excellent play. And there's a big rotation coming in here. I think. Oh no, the RP. These are the AFD supports completely gone. VG. Oh, ZSMJ managing to pick up one of those kills with the Mana Void. And Rave Blue is caught way out here. He has got to get the heck out of here. Fi taking a lot of damage. ChibiX going to try to pick this up, but unfortunately the mechanism hit just comes out. Rave Blue still trying to get the kill with this bear. Fi might take a fall. Another defensive disruption. ChibiX actually completely caught out here. Oh no, he went way over the line and unfortunately cops the death. Fi just serving as a tasty morsel there, completely baiting them. he baits first 2 players in the form of KSKS and Shaolin Kid, and then, even knowing that that just happened, ChibiX falls for the bait as well, and AFD just getting a little greedy there.
Vlad's is picked up on ZSMJ.
We've seen this more and more, this early Vlad's AM. Just for that, it's for that 5v5 early.
Yeah, it does give him a lot of 5v5. The damage aura does apply to everybody, and the lifesteal does apply to your melee units, so that's still huge.
Now, Elprez, let me pop off a bit and say, now that ZSMJ has done it, will you finally stop saying that Vlad's is bad?
No, I will not. I still think Yasha is going to be better in the long run. It speeds up his farm a little bit faster. Vlad's, I feel, as a farming utility, which I feel like more people are picking it up for than anything else, gives him a little bit more sustain. I think Tranquils are a little bit more cost effective for the long haul.
Well, he's got Oh, he doesn't have Tranquils. Huh,
he broke his Tranquils for the Vlads.
He had them, but yeah. I mean, he might remake them, or he might remake a different set of boots. I don't know. I like the Vlads, frankly. The fact that Tranquils disassembles into part of the Vlads is a pretty useful thing.
Actually, it decomposes into most of the Vlads. It turns the Ring of Protection into the Ring of Bass and the Ring of Regen, so the Ring of Regen.
Right.
And then he lets open up the slot so he can build his Power Treads, which are very, very, very good on anti-mages. Because he has...
No, I think it's good, man. You're a hater.
He has appalling strength growth.
Sure, he definitely does.
He actually is tied for the lowest strength growth in the game.
Is he? With whom?
Guess with who?
1.2?
Guess with who?
Sniper.
No.
Alchemist.
Nope.
I don't know, man.
Hint. It's a jungler.
A jungler with 1.2 strength gain. God, dude, I don't know. Come on, tell me.
Enchantress.
Yep. Alright, fair enough.
Except Enchantress is a pain to kill because of spirits
untouchable.
are ridiculous also, and
yeah,
untouchable is really funny.
Yep. I mean, anti-mage are also regarded generally as a pain to kill because of one ability. Blink.
Two, because Blink. Well, but also Spell Shield, because like if you Laguna Blade anti-mage, it's going to bounce off of him.
So I don't know. I mean, AFD, they haven't done badly. They've made some kill opportunities, but unfortunately those last 3 deaths, I mean, were very, very costly. It slowed them down. They were actually doing a very good job of pushing through and getting these outer towers, and they tried to high ground, and unfortunately the bear just got stymied in its effort to do that. And now I think they're sort of questioning themselves, can we actually high ground here? And if they can't, the dawn of anti-mage might begin soon. That said, Ken, he's getting closer to that Scythe of Vice. He's only about 2,300 gold off, so he's a little more than halfway to it. And that'll be very useful for them until Anti-Mage actually picks up something like a BKB.
Chibi picked up an Orchid, and that's basically Anti-Mage's worst nightmare as far as items are concerned.
He's been building that for a while. He does have these 5 deaths that made it a lot more difficult to get it in a timely fashion. But 21 minutes, not the worst timing in the world. Chibi will still love having this Orchid. And it looks like AFD, they just want this last outer tower, and there's really nothing stopping them. Tier 3s are one story, but Tier 2s are something VG really can't afford to stop the pushes on just yet.
Now, they cannot afford to waste a fort on a Tier 2, nor can they really afford to let anyone die on a Tier 2, because the impending Tier 3 push that would follow would be devastating if they couldn't do anything about that one.
Now, AFD, they have almost perfect warding of every area around the Roche Pit, which I think means if you connect these dots, you wind up with an X that points directly at the Roche Pit. So I think we're probably going to see an attempt from them sooner or later.
That is some phenomenal vision, actually, if you...
It's really good.
Wow,
they know every avenue of approach to Roche, plus people entering and exiting either major dire jungle exit over here, plus people coming through here for the ancient stack.
Yeah, that's a lot of vision.
So actually, AFD, they want to try to find out a gank here. They've got their entire team, minus Chibi, smoked up. Oh no, he actually cups. This is a dead Queen of Pain right here. Too much damage getting thrown out on him. And unfortunately, that's another kill that ZSMJ has participated in. Meanwhile, AFD, rather than go for a kill, they've smoked into the Roche. Their perfect vision is going to help them here. VG has no idea that these guys went in here. So they just get the free kill on Chibi.
Oh,
but
Fi.
the trade is probably for Roche. Oh, Fi just Shadow Poisoned, so he knows. This Shadow Demon knows, but can they interrupt this in time? I'm not sure. Shadow Poison getting thrown out again. That's 2 stacks on most of the people in here. 3 stacks on the Longer. Actually, a good disruption. He gets telekinesis in! Okay, alright. Wow. Fi does die. That scared me for a second there.
I thought for a second, yeah, that Lone Druid was going to lose the Aegis because they telekinesis Vi in. But that's actually really good telekinesis. They were able to get Vi in the split second that he's visible when he casts a spell. So, phenomenal play.
Excellent job there. They did manage to get Vi down there. AFD, they take the Roshan. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I really think that Aegis is critical to their hopes of actually getting high ground. But I'm not sure if I like it that much on Wraith Blue. I actually usually do like the Aegis on Lone Druid because the bear stays alive. But VG have done a good job of focusing heavily on the bear. I actually think this changes what AFD's tactic for high grounding needs to be. BKB done on C2Y, by the way. Because before, they could just put the bear on the high ground and wait on the low ground. Now I actually feel that they should high ground with more of the team because the bear doesn't have that Aegis. It's just the hero.
Yeah, it becomes a little bit of it's like it's sort of like a BKB.
Right.
You don't want to waste it before you die.
Right.
Because then you're gonna just die again.
ZSMJ continuing to apply counter pressure. They actually fortify this tower just to ward him off. So one person teleporting over. It does look like Wraith Blue. So they've called off the Hounds for now. They have a lot of time on this Aegis, about 5 more minutes. And in that time, I really feel AFD want to find a way to high ground. Actually smoked up. They're going to try to pick ZSMJ up from the jungle. But he's already pretty high level. He's got his Yasha on top of the Vlads. Can they do this, is my question. Can they actually pick him up? And you see VG starting to muster some forces in defense of this AM, should AFD try to make an attempt. They spot out ZSMJ. They're actually still smoked, but they've only got about a quarter remaining of the duration on this smoke gank. Here they come, but ZSMJ has already blinked out. So they, I think, missed their timing. This anti-mage is going to continue farming the jungle. 403 for ZSMJ. Not a bad game at all in terms of his actual participation.
Yeah, I feel like his farm is quite good now. He's actually a top farmer in the game. But that said, I don't know. Usually an anti-mage with Battle Fury you expect more from them at this point in the game. It's just one of those things. Usually at 25 minutes they have their big cores. That's the Manta and the Battle Fury. Oh, but here's the high ground push coming out from again.
It does look like they'll give it a shot. I mean, this tower is half because of that 15-minute high ground push. Good stun starting out on the bear, and actually a good shutdown on the bear so far. It's actually going to cop a tremendous amount of damage. It's purged. I think they can get the barrier. This is going to have to be a resummon from Wraith Blue. Yes, the vacuum will take it. And AFD, they're once again stuffed from this high ground push, while ZSMJ, if EG are playing this exactly correctly, turtle up, punish the bear, and use ZSMJ to counter push. And he's going to reach that Manta, at which point he will be, like we talked about, a formidable pushing force. He's actually almost at the Manta right now. I think this jungle camp will take him the rest of the way.
Yeah. And honestly, sadly it almost didn't, but once he gets that Manta style, it's going to be actually very, very, very difficult to stop his kind of pushes, because he is quite the pusher with the Manta style illusions. Not only are they almost impossible to kill with magical damage because they do have that built-in magical resist, they're still quite armored up with 17 armor, thanks to the Vlad's armor bonus aura.
Exactly. I mean, those are very, very powerful illusions. I really think that AFD can't just rely on the solo bear with team support, because the bear's just not going to live. Maybe if it adds like a cloak on or something, but I really don't know. Does it have a cloak, actually? No, it doesn't. Just building towards that Mjolnir. XTT copping a little bit of harassment from this little panda bear, but no entangle just yet. But I just don't know that they can high ground with just the bear. At this point, it barely did any damage to VG's tower on that last push.
Barely.
It just got yeah, barely. Ha ha ha. I think that the simple bare necessities for AFD are, at this point are to high ground more aggressively. I don't think they can just keep this game... I don't think this game can just sit in its cave hibernating, because in that case, ZSMJ will be an angrier bear than anything that AFD can bring to the table.
I think we're going to stop with the angry bear puns.
I don't think we will.
Oh, maybe. You know what? I will start them up again when Ursa's picked up.
Alright, fair enough.
We gotta get 2.5 bears running.
Right. I don't think we're going to see it, man.
I doubt it. Ursa has some huge issues involving being the most... Actually, the most cuttable here in the game.
Sure. Now, Ken
with
bought out,
Sealer.
So he has his Scythe of Vice, and I think this is another critical tool for them. But they really have to go, I feel like, 1 minute until the Aegis actually leaves, and I really feel like using this Aegis could be a huge deal for them. Without the Aegis, I don't know that those 4 minutes are minutes that they can actually high ground in. They have to high ground, in my opinion, in the next minute. Or they have to wait another 5 minutes, which... I don't think you want to do against an anti-mage. I just think that it's a losing proposition long term. They sort of have to make something happen, and it looks like they're trying to go for it. So we will see another high ground attempt. We'll see if it's a little more committed than the attempts that they've made so far, but I really feel that it ought to be. I think that the Scythe of Ice gives them a potential scales tipper that will be very effective. Building another Scythe of Ice on Chibi as well.
I'm still trying to think what item anti-mage should go for next. If it's a heart, if it's a butterfly, if it's...
Bears up on high ground again. It does get split earth again. These Fenrir split earths have been excellent. I think this is probably this tower. Yes, the tower goes down. Will they attempt to go for it? We do see a ping out. It does come from AFD, so I think they're deciding. Here we go. Bears on the high ground. It will get picked off incredibly quickly. They actually didn't use Purge for it, so good discipline from VG coming out there, by the way. And this Aegis is just ticking away. They still haven't used it. It's gone. The Aegis is gone. And if they push here, it's going to have to be with only 1 life on the lone druid and no bear resummon.
Radiant's middle tower.
That's honestly not going to happen. I don't think they're going to be going for this because 1 RP on just 3 of them would end this push so quickly because Anti-Mage does have all of that nasty cleave damage.
It's difficult, but what's their other recourse? Wait for Roshan? Give CSMJ 4 minutes of unfettered free farm?
That's the only problem. I think it's already been too late. I think CSMJ has enough items to make these fights end right now. That said, if they can silence him, if they can disable him for long enough, then they have a chance.
I think
but
silence
that's the problem.
on CTY is much more important. I don't think silence on CSMJ is nearly as important as a good...
Oh, there.
A good silence on CTY, I think. Oh, here he goes. He's fishing. The vacuum comes out, but CTY actually is sheeped up, but they don't have quite enough damage to kill him. He might still fight. We do see Laguda Blade coming out on CSMJ. He's actually entangled. CSMJ is taking a lot of damage. This bear is beating down on him. The RP, where's the RP? It's still not coming out. CTY wants to find the right timing. His BKB time for getting frittered away completely. The bear's gone. No resummon for this bear for 45 seconds. Meanwhile, Fi gets picked off in the back. Actually, 2 kills. CTY buys back. He's still got RP. So this fight could keep going. But Wraith Blue, he just doesn't have a bear. Fi buys back. VG want to make this happen, and I just don't know that AFD can keep going. They've got a couple buybacks out, and I think that's the best they can do, unfortunately. But a great fight from them, frankly. Completely not getting caught out with the RP, spreading out just enough that CTY didn't even pop it.
Yeah, that was absolutely fantastic coming out of AFD. And CTY was pretty unlucky. He got immediately sheeped when he blinked in, so there was no way he could get the perfect RP off right after the fantastic vacuum coming out from XCT. So a little bit of bad luck as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Ken was really on the ball with that sheep stick.
That was a great sheep on CTY, no doubt. I still feel like Orchid on CTY is ideal, just because, but I mean, you have to cast whatever you have. Just because you can't really Orchid, I mean, if you Orchid ZSMJ and he hasn't manted yet, he's actually perfectly okay, whereas he can't mant out of a sheep stick.
Oh, ZSMJ is leaving, so I hope VG can hold off this push by themselves.
They're just, I mean, they're okay for now, because they know that they don't have the pressure of the Aegis bearing down on them. He's got this temple. He picks up the tower already.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to fall back, though, or if he's going to keep pushing. That's he's coming back.
Yeah. Assault Cuirass done for the bear. It's doing quite good damage, and they're going to try again, but again, they're just sitting back here relying on this bear, and it's taking quite a bit of damage. But here we go. The bear's dealing too much. It might actually get the racks. I don't think that VG will respond time. Good vacuum there. Keep in mind, they still have RP. Wraith Blue is getting torn apart by ZSMJ here. Good Light Strike Array actually saves the lone druid for now. And that's a big for now. There goes the Orchid. There's the Sheepstick. Actually, ZSMJ will probably be brought down to a Laguda Blade and a Light Strike Array. They've gotten the Anti-Mage. RP getting thrown out on 2. Wraith Blue probably taking a fall here. Actually, 2 dead in exchange for the Anti-Mage so far. Ken losing a lot of HP as well. But they've broken through a little bit. Just that tiny little bit. Enough to actually pick off the melee racks. And AFD, I think, have to be happy with this fight. A #1 trade for a #1 trade, but what a #1 it is. Fenrir, he actually gets picked off very quickly with that Sonic Wave. The vacuum wall coming down from XTT, but Ken will probably make it out of this alive. So will Chibi. And so 2 for 2 in the end, plus a Rax. AFD, they are fighting these pitch perfectly, in my opinion.
Absolutely, just phenomenal play coming out. In that case, particularly out of Ken. Again, fantastic Sheep 6, a good mech, and a solid Shackle shot. Fact was, I feel like ZSMJ was a little bit too far in front, a little bit too aggressive, so he found himself getting picked off very quickly when he was chain disabled by everything that AFD had to tell him, and it only got rounded off by the randomness that is the Entangle. That said, ZSMJ will not let that happen again and picks up a BKB.
Yes, this is an absolutely critical pickup for ZSMJ's anti-mage. He was totally locked down there. Just 2 sets of full lockdowns happened on the anti-mage there. And the question will be, now that this BKB has hit the field, can they hope to replicate that? I take it by your silence, you don't think so.
I doubt it, because none of their abilities really pierce BKBs.
Well, Entangle, but yeah.
Yeah, but Entangle is random, so banking on an Entangle... Well, he does have the Panda skin.
I think AFD need Roshan again. It's going to be tough to now get Roshan when VG are fully alerted to the possibility of that fact. Last time they relied on perfect wards and a smoke into it. And they still got spotted out. And Fi almost stole it anyway. So this time, with Chibi such a danger, with ZSMJ such a danger, they're under a lot of pressure to actually get this Roshan up for Wraith Blue. And securing it is not going to be a trivial task. Actually, VG are making threats to sort of go on it themselves. We do see a ping out from them. So definitely a lot of thought about this. XDT picking up the Blink Dagger for his Darkseer, so this gives him a lot more initiation. In fact, Darkseer has made a full pipe as well. So VG building some of their own, ZSMJ has jumped into the pit. And if he can get Aegis and BKB, this is a formidable thing to fight against for 6 minutes as AFD. Oh no, this Roshan's taking a lot of damage. AFD know this is happening, but Roshan is at half health. If ZSMJ scores this Aegis, it's going to be a huge deal. Illusionary Wall comes down. The bear is in. ZSMJ is shackled. XTT on the high ground. Stolen wall down here. ZSMJ gets picked off. They get him with the Laguna Blade. CTY is in here. He pops RP, but actually, he's getting taken down. AFD are dismantling VG here. Oh no! We do see XTT taking a fall as well. I don't know which of these walls is stolen, which one is the real one, but I think actually that was initially a stolen one. So, AFD, I think they've secured the Roshan. I don't think they even care. They're going to high ground. ZSMJ bought out for that BKB. He has no buyback. CTY, he does have buyback, and he's going to have to use it, but no buyback on FY. Oh no, I think AFD are going to high ground. They could take it right here. They're going to take the second set of Raxas. No problem about it. 40 seconds for Anti-Mage, 35 seconds, and Wraith Blue on the slow druid. He's angry. They're going to take down this Rax. Oh, that secured kill of the Anti-Mage ends up being so meaningful. VG didn't manage to get that Roshan, and they might pay the entire game for it. I think AFD have taken it. They're going to take the second set of tier 3s, this third set of tier 3s, I should say. And here go the Raxas. 20 seconds for Anti-Mage. VGF maybe one shot. They've got to make something happen. No. What they make happen is the GG. AFD, in 2 fell swoops, 2 critical kills on Anti-Mage, the high ground shackle shot with a vision from the wall.
Dire's top barracks are under attack.
Wow.
You know that you've won the game when the opposing carry only dies twice, but those kills were so late and so significant that there was just no recovering from it. And the problem was, the SMJ was just caught out both times. He was caught out of position. He was caught out without the BKB up. Yeah, he never actually got to use it once, and he got disabled.
Great play from AFD there. They knew it was just the SMJ in the pit, and everybody else above it. And they just concentrated their vision and their disables from an unexpected angle onto the SMJ. And the entire game was sealed in that instant. In the taking out the anti-mage, and no hope of VG's recovery after that. VG, in fact, just GGing out, and that can't feel good. When you run that sort of 4 protect 1, and then the 1 just disappears.
I feel like if he had a heart at this point, it would have been the game winner.
I mean, BKB was such an important pickup, though.
It was an important pickup. Part of the problem was that ZSMJ was getting picked off before he could even activate the BKB.
Well, that was just, I mean, the shackle started off just a chain of incredible events there. AFD, that was the perfect anti-Roshan. I mean, they were so good in that instant. I was gobsmacked by how effective that was. Just...
that was absolutely phenomenal. That was a great shackle, great light strike away. There was just no moving coming out from ZSMJ, and just drop like a rock.
And there we go. AFD. They take it to 1-1. It's a game, folks. We do have this going to a game 3. Netolic Raid Call, East Division. Winners bracket, round 1. And I told you guys, I told you at the end of the group phase, we were only going to have better and better games. and this was a remarkable game. We're going to go to the decider in about 2 minutes, folks. I hope you all will watch it with me. I'm Vikrant. El Presidente is my co-caster. This is the Netolic TV stream, the official English casters, Netolic TV. And of course, if you're watching on Dota TV, thank you for checking this out so far. We're going to go to a game 3. I couldn't be more pleased.